Hello, my name is Declan O'Sullivan. I'm the Managing Director of Kerry Consulting. Today I would like to talk to you about how to resign at a practical rather than a theoretical level. Every week we at Kerry Consulting interview literally dozens of people, most of whom are looking around for new positions. For many, their search will bear fruit and they will find themselves accepting a new position in a new organisation. For some, the absolutely inevitable resignation process can pose difficulties. As ever, following some basic steps can make resigning very much easier. So preparation is really vital in this area. Prior to the resignation meeting, you should remind yourself of a bunch of important points. The first of which is, why were you looking around for a role in the first place? Presumably there was some reason. It could be anything from career scope, it could be compensation, it could be cultural misalignment, it could be any number of things, or it could be a combination thereof. But in any event, there must have been some reasons. Whatever your actual reasons for looking around, it's perfectly normal to be hit by a wave of nostalgia when one is actually about to exit. A whole raft of irrational emotions can be triggered. So it's worth reminding oneself that the safest way through a stressful emotional period, and it very likely will be a stressful meeting, is to rely on your own original decisions and not get caught up in the moment. So basically, build a plan, stick to it. You also need to remind yourself of what your medium and long-term career objectives are, of how your new role and organisation will help you achieve your career goals. And also, and this is really important as well, you and you alone, not your boss, not your colleagues, you and you alone are responsible for your career choices. You owe it to yourself and your family to make the most of your opportunities. Your current organisation will not in fact collapse if you leave. So beware of emotional blackmail at this point. Again, very, very common. And sometimes the person you're resigning to won't be doing this deliberately, but they will be reacting emotionally as well. So it's really important that you be quite clear and be quite clear that this is your right, your absolute right. You should also recognise that you can never be 100% certain about any career decision. Quite impossible. So if the person you're resigning to asks you, are you 100% certain, and you say no, that does not mean you should not in fact be proceeding with your original decision, because you can never be 100% certain. What you can do is you can perform a rigorous analysis and make a balanced decision, and then really you should stick to it. So often the cost of doing nothing or sticking to the same old route can be very, very high in terms of development opportunities foregone. And that may not be a consideration for your manager. It should be a major consideration for you. Losing a year or two in your career development may result in you not achieving all that you could and should over the course of your entire career. It's entirely possible, as an example, not to take a new position and then find that a recession comes in and you can be stuck in your old role for 2 or 3 extra years. And can really be decisive. So in other words, opportunities come to pass, not to pose. Once you've worked through the above points, you'll be in good shape to actually resign. You should write a brief resignation note and present it to the appropriate person in your organisation. You need to be firm at this point and recognise that as a valued staff member, you will very probably come under considerable pressure to alter your decision. The best approach is to keep the meeting brief and focused. State your intention to pursue your career elsewhere. Thank your employer for the opportunity of working in their organisation, but state clearly that your decision is irrevocable and that you would appreciate it, and this is important in order to cut down on the possibility of the meeting going on for 16 hours, that you would appreciate it if you could be granted the courtesy of not discussing the matter further. This is a very good tactic in that it closes down the discussion quite quickly. If one involves oneself in lengthy discussions, the likelihood of emotions rather than rationality dictating outcomes becomes much, much higher. It is entirely in your interest to manage the process in a warm, friendly, professional, but ultimately brisk and decisive manner. Naturally, your consultant will be glad to walk you through the process and advise you on how to handle specific situations. In order to illustrate some of these points, we're now going to show you 2 role plays. The first role play will be how not to resign, and the second role play will be how to resign. So Sarah, what can I do for you this morning?
The reason I've asked for this meeting is because I'm going to resign from the company.
Oh, really? Wow, that's big news, yeah?
Yeah.
And, wow, have you found another position? Or?
I have, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is it, why would you make this move?
There are a number of reasons actually why I'm going to be moving on. I don't feel the company can offer me the opportunities I can find elsewhere.
Okay. Right. Wow. I mean, actually, I suppose, I'm very happy to talk to you about this because obviously, as you know, here we're very keen to retain people and give them, every opportunity really. So, perhaps we can talk about, career development opportunities for you. But I mean, the other thing I guess that would bother me is, the team at the moment, obviously, bear in mind we're coming into year end and we're a little bit short staffed and all of that. A bit of a difficult time. Have you talked to any of your colleagues? Or?
I've mentioned it to a few of them actually, yeah, and they are very disappointed.
Right, I see. I mean, your next role, are you getting a better salary or?
I am, yes, yeah.
And I presume that's something of a driver, is it?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what we might do, is just talk a bit about what we can do for you internally in terms of career development. And surely there's some tweaking we can do. And I'd also like to have a bit of a think about your salary, because I'm getting the feeling from you that you're not totally decided on this. Bear in mind, obviously you're part of a very close-knit team, and this is probably the worst time you could contemplate leaving. I mean, would you be open to thinking about options?
I may be, yes. Now that I think of it, yeah.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is give me a few hours, and let's catch up at 2:00 in the afternoon, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thanks, Sarah. Okay. Bye. So, Sarah, what can I do for you this morning?
The reason I've asked to meet with you today is because I will be resigning from the company.
Oh, right. Okay. That's most unexpected and, quite frankly, most unwelcome. Do you mind if I ask why, or?
Well, there are a number of reasons. Actually, I've been offered opportunities elsewhere, and I feel that it's a good time to take them up on their offer.
Okay, right. And had you thought about it for long, or?
Yes, actually, quite some time now at this stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything? You're very well regarded in the organisation. Both
Thank
by
you.
your peers and the management team. Is there anything we can do, in terms of your role or financially or anything like that?
I don't believe that you can. I have enjoyed my time here, and it's a fantastic place to work, and my team have been excellent, but I do feel I've been offered great opportunities elsewhere, and I'd just like to thank you for my time here.
Okay, right. Listen, would it be useful for me to go away and think about it? Because quite frankly, I'm very surprised. Maybe I can go away, think about it, and see if we can come up with, a variation on your role, or perhaps a new role that might work better for you. And also think about compensation and that sort of thing.
Well, to be honest, my decision is final.
Is it really? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen. I'm very sorry to hear that. Obviously, and we'll be delighted to talk to your future employer if they'd like to talk to us. What we might do is reconvene this afternoon and just talk about detail in terms of notice periods and announcing it to the company and all this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
In turn, I'd like to thank you for your time here. You've been a great success.
And thank you very much.
To summarise, preparation is key. You should plan the resignation event. You should role play it, and then you should execute it without deviation. If you do all of this, it will go smoothly, allowing you to further your career in your next position. Best of luck.